Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA and happy opening night to the 2025-26 NBA season. We've got Rockets Thunder. We've got Warriors Lakers. What a way to kick off the season. We're going to be telling you everything you need to know about both matchups. Plus, we make some bold predictions. You are Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On NBA, however you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today we're talking about opening night Rockets Thunder, Lakers Warriors. We're going to break down the matchups of both games with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me as always from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt.
From
Locked On Bulls podcast, Bulls and Bears creator for Bleacher Report, it's Haize.
I don't know if I've been this excited about the start of a season for a long time, and Matt just doing the NBA on NBC thing just reminded me that's probably a big reason why. Like, this is a very nostalgic season for me, and I also have Modest Buzelis to actually be excited about as a Bulls fan too. Things are looking up around here.
We're leaning into nostalgia a little bit. We've got like the Jersey Day, a lot of teams leaning into their throwbacks. We have the old Minnesota Timberwolves jersey, the old Utah Jazz jerseys coming back. A lot of good things happening to start the season. So we're hyped. We're going to preview tonight's marquee games to open the season in a second. But let's start with some predictions for this season that we're also excited about. I want to get your predictions for who's going to win the championship. We'll get to some end of season award predictions. And then I want one bold prediction from each of you. But let's start with the reason why we do all of this. Who's going to win the championship? Haize, who do you got?
I figured not to stray too far off in this one. I still have the OKC Thunder winning the championship here. They're so good, so young. There's still players that still have a lot of development that they still can do in their NBA career that are here. And so, and we haven't had a repeat champion in a while. I'm still picking the OKC Thunder to repeat.
Boring.
It is. Wait till you get to my other predictions, though, Matt.
Boring. I mean, look, Haize is right. Like, if you're making a prediction, you have to predict the Thunder. Like, if you're just like, well, I want to give you the most accurate answer, the most likely outcome, it's the Thunder. But I'm not going to do that because that's no fun. I am not a homer because I am not from Denver, nor am I a Denver fan, but I am going to take the Denver Nuggets. I do Locked On Nuggets. I am going to take the Denver Nuggets. Look, they pushed the Thunder to 7 last year. They clearly have problems with the kind of personnel that the Nuggets present, and they have a much better team. They have a deeper roster. They are reinvigorated. I've seen enough out of this team in preseason in terms of their attitude, approach, and how they view this season. I think they're well positioned. I think repeating is very hard in the NBA. I think if any team can do it, it's the Denver Nuggets. I was going to take the Cavs, but I was just like, man, am I going to want Jokic or am I going to want Donovan Mitchell? I wanted Jokic. So I'm taking the Denver Nuggets to win the 2026 title.
Haize, what do you think?
I mean, I can understand why he picks it. This doesn't just feel like a homer pick. Like, there's a legitimate, like, what the Denver Nuggets have been missing more than anything has been depth, and they addressed that in a major way. I love the Cam Johnson acquisition for them as well. Christian Braun just got paid, so we'll see what he does this season. But never betting against Jokic, you're usually going to end up on the right side of things when you do that.
Definitely not a homer pick. It would be a homer pick if Haize was like the Chicago Bulls are going to win the 2026 NBA title.
No,
that would have been a little
that's
bit.
A failed drug test, Wes. That would literally be a failed drug test.
We would have had to open up an investigation into that. No, I am curious though, Matt, because you said, I was kind of toying. Maybe I picked Cleveland there. I do wonder how many people will actually go on record and pick a team from the East in general. Like, if we just distilled this down to West or East, which conference wins the championship? Like, Matt, you do all the betting odds and stuff. Like, the West would be like what, plus 2,000 or minus 2,000 or something like that?
No, it's actually very tight. If you want to bet on the Western Conference, you can actually find it at like minus 125 because there's just so much in the middle that can happen here. Like, there's just like a lot that can occur. Let me put it this way. If I told you the Nuggets and the Thunder don't make it, one of them gets injured and one of them gets knocked off, now how do you feel about it? Like, that's actually like a really big part of this, which is, look, Cleveland has destroyed Denver over the last couple of seasons. Like, they have not been able to match up with Cleveland at all for a number of reasons. So if that's the matchup, which is very possible, I'm gonna lean a little bit towards Cavs right now. Like we're a long way from that, but I think they're live there. The Cavs showed up and were able to play the Thunder tough last year. The Cavs are a legit contender. To me, they're the only legit contender in the Eastern Conference, though.
Haize, would you agree with that?
I mean, they're definitely the favorite. But like in the Eastern Conference, we've seen it before. Like all it takes is a team to get hot at the right time and with solid depth. Like so, that's the East. It's difficult to pick. Like the Cavs, the Knicks, like they're great, but I could see a world in which, hey, if Embiid's healthy at the right time, who knows what Philly's gonna do? Like the Magic, the Detroit Pistons, like these teams all have legitimate chances. Like things are gonna have to bounce their way, but we've seen it a lot of times in the East. Hell, Jimmy did it with your team twice. Like it just takes getting hot at the right time.
Very few people, if anybody, I don't know anybody that had the Indiana Pacers going to the NBA Finals, and they took the Thunder to a Game 7. Yeah. So we see crazy stuff, especially in this parody era, all the time. But let's move on to some end of season awards. I asked both of you to come up with your MVP predictions. Haize, I want to start with you on this one too.
So every so often we get an MVP that comes out of kind of left field. And I don't think this is completely out of left field pick, but I know a lot of people are going to go to Shea, they're going to go to Jokic, and those are very safe picks. While I played it safe with my champion pick, I'm not going to play it safe here. I got Anthony Edwards winning the MVP this year. I think he's primed. I think when you look at how he's added to his game over the last year plus, I think his team's going to win enough to get it done. It just comes down to, does he show up in the big moments? Does he have those big kind of transcendent performances? And I think they're coming for Ant sooner rather than later.
I think it's a great pick, right? Because I think there's such a willingness to anoint him. It's been interesting that from a metric standpoint, which the way to think about this is not that, like the voters see the metrics and they vote him because they don't understand. No, it's the opposite. It's like most often the metrics reflect what voters value. And those have never really backed Ant as a serious MVP guy. But if you watch him, you feel like that. You feel like on when he's on. It's about consistency, which he's entering the time in his career where he's going to be able to make that kind of league. So I really like that pick. That's not a boring pick, which is very good. It's not as exciting as mine, though, sir, because I have Cade Cunningham. This Detroit Pistons team, I think, is just absolutely outrageous. I think they're going to be really good. I think Cade is that good. I think he is that guy. I think he is him. Whatever memes you want to use, I think Cade Cunningham fills those. If the Pistons come out of nowhere and are actually like a serious top like 50+ win team, top 3 seed, and everybody's like, man, we didn't think that it was going to be them, but look, they are. That has a real impact on the voters as well. If it's not Shea, if you told me Shea Gilgeous-Alexander does not play 65 games, the person I would most want to pick is Cade Cunningham.
I knew you were going to go that pick, honestly, because we've kind of touched on this conversation before, and it's a really good pick. It falls much in line with like my reasoning for Ant. Like every once in a while, there's just somebody that comes out of the left, and Cade's going to have the opportunity. A lot of people are looking to see what he's going to do following up on last season and his performance. Like Cade is a star, and it's good that he's finally being recognized as one. And like I say, it really sucks that I have to say this because I'm a Bulls fan lifelong, but Cade is really good. I can't deny the reality of how good Cade Cunningham is.
FanDuel's top 5 leaders for MVP right now in terms of the odds. They have Shea number 1, Jokic number 2, should not be surprising there. Luka number 3, not very surprising there. Victor Wembanyama at 4, Giannis at 5, and then Haize, your Anthony Edwards there at 6. And they actually have Cade Cunningham there at 7, right ahead of guys like Kevin Durant, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Joel Embiid. So, out of left field predictions, like you guys said, but not that left of field, I guess, according to FanDuel. But
my favorite long shot over at FanDuel is Alperen Şengün, who you can get at 300 to 1. That's a long shot.
That's a long shot. We're bumping up against it here, so I want to do the last couple predictions pretty quickly. But I asked both of you to predict just one other end of season award. Matt, what do you got?
Trey Johnson, Rookie of the Year, Washington Wizards. If I can't get my Wizards, I don't know if my Wizards are going to be any good. But I think it'll be fun. I think Trey Johnson's got a good chance. If it's not Cooper, I think Trey Johnson's got the best chance.
Mine for this one was I think that DeMar DeRozan is going to get traded to the Golden State Warriors for Jonathan Kuminga. And I sat here and try to do this thing of rationalize XYZ. And I'm going to say is that I think for a few reasons. We know that they had trade talks this offseason. We know that Kuminga and his agent kind of wanted to go to the Kings. And I think that DeMar DeRozan fits the timeline that the Warriors have established with Jimmy, Dre's, and Steph's contracts. If you can get a first-round pick and DeMar DeRozan back, it fits those things. It helps with the on-off thing with Steph. And I also think the last time we've seen Dre really play, we've seen DeMar play the closest thing to a secondary role was when he was on the Spurs, and he kind of facilitated more for some of those young guys. I think coming to the Warriors with Kerr, he'd be able to do some good on-ball things while Steph can go around the outside. I actually think it would be a really good fit.
And then the Kings would get a discount on Jonathan Kuminga because of the deal that he signed with the Warriors.
Exactly.
Like, that's a really smart deal for both sides. I like that a lot. What I think is funny is, from our prediction standpoint, you and I both took the big bold prediction to be a Sacramento King gets traded, because you took DeMar to the Warriors and I took Domantas Sabonis will be traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Ooh, spicy.
Jared Allen, some other piece, and they get Domantas Sabonis. You move Mobley to the 5. You've got Mobley to cover for Domantas. If you're like, oh, but the rim protection or the rebounding is really the issue there with Mobley if he's having to play out on the perimeter and switch more. Guess what? Sabonis is an excellent rebounder. So you've got Sabonis's play creation that boosts the offense. You've now got DHO action with Mitchell, Garland, and Sabonis. You've got Mobley. That to me would be not a crazy one, because the Cavs and the Kings talked a lot about trade concepts the last 2 seasons. I would not be surprised if that deal gets done.
So the Sacramento Kings tearing it down a little bit, reshuffling. I kind of like those deals mostly for Sacramento. You get Jared Allen, you get Jonathan Kuminga. You kind of start to reset things a little bit. That roster makes a little bit more sense than what it makes now, even though it's a pretty low bar. But those are the bold predictions. If you missed it, we predicted our top 5 offenses and top 5 defenses on yesterday's episode. So we've got a bunch of predictions out there, but now it's time to talk basketball, boys. It's opening night. We've got some games to talk about in a minute. We're going to preview Rockets Thunder and talk about why the Rockets provide a unique test for the defending champs. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Built. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards that you can actually use. When you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed towards hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and much more. But Built isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. I love that with Built, your rent finally works for you. You're earning points every month on something that you already have to pay. Whether I'm grabbing food at my local restaurants or heading to the gym, I'm still earning rewards on all the things that I'm doing around the neighborhood. Built has made everyday life feel more rewarding, from your neighborhood to your travel plans. Turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's joinbuilt, joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure that you use the link so that they know we sent you. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is also brought to you by Skims. When I found out that Skims was making underwear for men, I was intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family that I had to give it a try, and let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with my underwear fit, comfort, or just finding the right style for me. Skims changed all of that. Their men's line offers something for everybody, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. I tried the Skims 5-inch boxer brief, and I gotta tell you, I am hooked. These are perfect for my active lifestyle. They move with me. They never lose their shape. They stay in place all day, whether I'm working out or just running errands. They're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I've ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. So shop Skims Men's at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select Locked On NBA in the drop-down menu that follows. We'll be right back. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. The best way to support the show, like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on your podcast app. The NBA season starts tonight with a doubleheader on NBC and Peacock. It's Rockets at Thunder and then Warriors at Lakers. We're going to start, guys, in Oklahoma City where it's ring night. But unfortunately, Jalen Williams won't be a part of it, at least not on the court. Not available. He'll still be recovering from offseason wrist surgery. Locked On Thunder host Rylan Stiles says that this is going to be a big test for the Thunder without one of their top players.
It will still need to be a massive performance from SGA to get this win. And when you look at this Thunder team, you're also going to be putting Chet Holmgren under the microscope because we've talked all summer long about the potential for a breakout from him. We've talked all summer long about the potential of him doing more offensively, shooting the basketball from three, scoring in the mid-range, and most importantly, getting to the rim and getting to the free throw line. All those things have to happen from Chet Holmgren tonight against this Rockets team with their jumbo lineup. I mean, they're starting a lineup that has Kevin Durant at the 2. They're going to have Amon, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith, Şengün, and Adams. That's your starting 5 for Houston. That's a massive lineup. And J-Dub being your 3 helps you match that way more than whoever you start in his place. And that's why I could see the Thunder starting a lineup of SGA, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Chet, and Ihart. That's your starting 5, I think, for this Thunder team, because Caruso is versatile and he can replace some of that size of J-Dub. Caruso plays bigger than he is. You saw him last year taking on the assignment at times of guarding Nikola Jokic. Like, this guy can play big.
Matt, I want to start with you on this one. How do you think the Thunder match up with the Rockets' size?
Not well, to be perfectly honest with you. If you look back last year, they had injuries to Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, but even when they were healthy, they had real problems in terms of the one weakness was giving up offensive rebounds. They have real problems with that, and the Rockets lean heavily on it. It's one of the reasons why the Rockets were able to hang with them consistently in their 5 matchups in the regular season, including the play-in tournament. Thunder got the season series win 3-2, but these games were pretty close and competitive. And one of the reasons is that the Rockets are really good at just crashing the glass over and over again with Şengün and Adams. Now they got Capella to add to that mix. Like, this is going to be a thing. So one of the questions is always, can Udoka as a coach resist the temptation to go small? Can you stay out of that? Can you actually still keep playing big, especially with the ball handler pressure that OKC is going to provide? Because that's the weakness for the Rockets' 2 big lineup, is they give up a lot of turnovers, and you don't want to give up turnovers versus the Thunder that can get out of hand in a hurry. So I think that this is going to be like the test here is, yes, I think that the Rockets' size will give them problems, but I think what they're going to give back around that 2 big lineup is going to be the issue for Houston.
Yeah, the double big lineup, the fact that Houston's about to start Kevin Durant at shooting guard is crazy to me. So, we'll see how that works out. I think that the both teams are the Rockets are putting out the best line to give them a chance against the Thunder as far as to match their size, while also creating some advantages for themselves. This really is still going to come down to, like Matt said, is turnovers. Can you limit the turnovers? Men's growing as a ball handler, but he's not a great ball handler yet. And while I like the matchup of men on SGA, I think that's going to be a really fun matchup. We've also seen Alex Caruso guard centers. So putting him on Kevin Durant is going to be interesting. This game's going to come down to who wins the matchups, whose matchups creates the best advantage, and then how do they continue that advantage as the game goes on. This is going to be a really fun opening night game tonight.
So both of these are younger teams, right? Younger teams, but loaded with a ton of talent. I don't know, maybe outside of Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs, like if you just polled the GM and said, if you could take one roster for the future, which one would it be? Most of them would probably say one of these 2 rosters. That said, both of them are in win now mode, right? Like the Thunder just won the championship. They're trying to repeat here. The Rockets, after making the Kevin Durant trade, they are also in win now mode. So I want to zoom out here for a second. When you look at this season for both teams, which one of these teams have the most at stake? Haize, you're the Rockets guy. What do you think?
I mean, it's hard to say that it's a lot at stake for the Thunder here, only because like we've seen it. They're going to be, even if the Thunder get out to a bit of a shaky start, like we're going to think that they can't overcome that. It's important for the Rockets, especially without Fred VanVleet being here, to find the rhythm and balance early into the season, and no better game to do it than against the Thunder. So I think it's really important for the Thunder to get it done. I mean, the Rockets to get it done today.
I mean, look, if the Rockets are not a top 3 seed, there's going to be an immense amount of pressure for them to make a playoff run. Yeah. If you are not a top 3 seed and you don't go deep, if you get knocked out in second round, all the conversations about Kevin Durant are only going to get louder. And like he can say, like 2-time finals MVP, 2 championships, cool, but that's going to be the conversation overriding is like, can you win? Like, can you win anymore with KD? Because the clock's ticking. They just signed him to the extension, but he's going to be 38 next season. So I think there's an immense amount of pressure on Houston. If the Thunder were to not get it done, the window is still so open. Like, for them, they can do the thing where it's like they can do the Spurs thing of every other year they're in a Final Four, and that's totally good. I think if they were to go out earlier than the conference finals, yeah, there'd probably be a little bit of, what happened? But Houston, I think, is facing a lot more pressure this season.
Like I said before, it's ring night. Kevin Durant will be in the building. On NBC/Peacock, however they're going to broadcast this, do we need like a little side box that's just following Kevin Durant while this Oklahoma City Thunder team receives the first rings in franchise history?
No, that's ESPN nonsense. That's ESPN content. I think that NBC will keep the main thing the main thing. And as much as it's funny and petty, and I appreciate those things, like you gotta keep the main thing, which is the Thunder winning the championship at that age was really impressive, and they deserve to have that moment on its own. Like if we're gonna celebrate basketball in a new way with this new media deal, let's do that and get away from the drama just a little bit when we're honoring a champion.
Yeah, agree.
Our next marquee matchup is Warriors-Lakers. What are we going to learn about both of these teams tonight? Potentially a lot. We'll talk about that next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. That's right, Mint makes it simple. All plans come with a high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number and contacts. I love that you are getting the same quality service that you had before, but for a fraction of the price. The setup is super easy. You keep your number, and then you're running in minutes. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for the first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network is a show for every team. So check out Locked On Rockets, Locked On Thunder, Locked On Warriors, and Locked On Lakers after tonight's games for recaps. Also check out Locked On NBA Game Night. Every game, every night for a recap of all the games later tonight. Our second game of the night, guys. Warriors at Lakers. No LeBron James for this one. He's going to miss the season opener with a case of the sciatica. But it's still Luka Doncic. It's still Steph Curry. It's still the Lakers. It's still the Warriors in Los Angeles. Right away, we have some interesting matchup decisions from both coaches. JJ Redick said he's going to start Gabe Vincent alongside Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and DeAndre Ayton. And over on Locked On Lakers, they talked about what this says about Redick's approach this season.
The choice of the starting lineup, I do think it is not a coincidence that the Gabe Vincent thing is guaranteed only through Tuesday, through the game with the Warriors, just because of how Golden State operates, where there is so much motion. I think there could be a little bit of matchup calculus going on here.
Similar to what the Lakers did with Schroeder in that series a couple of years ago against the Warriors.
It's always interesting though to open up against a team that is a little bit unconventional, and the Warriors are still a group like that. That don't play with traditional bigs. They don't have a lot of that kind of size.
There's no natural matchup defensively for DeAndre Ayton in this game, so I'm curious to see exactly what they do with him. Who guards Jimmy Butler? What do you do with Draymond? Like, these are all interesting questions that I'm very, very curious to see what JJ does and how much of a glimpse this could provide into his thinking for the whole season.
We heard Brian Kamenetsky there use the word unconventional in terms of the Warriors in some of these matchups. But Haize, when you look at the matchups between these two teams, what stands out to you?
I mean, I think who steps up most defensively is something that I'm looking at in this game. I think neither team you're looking at necessarily being one of the best defensive teams in the league, but I think that's what this game is going to come down to. I don't have a lot of faith in the Lakers defensively, and maybe that's just me being, overlooking them a little bit. And I think the Lakers are going to be a really solid Western Conference team, and I think the Warriors are going to be the same. But I think not only are you looking at the star power, but that defensive gear that the Warriors can go into, I think that's going to be something that really makes the difference for them a lot in this season, especially against the Lakers tonight.
List the expected starters again, Wes, for me.
For the Lakers?
Yeah.
It's Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, Rui Hachimura, DeAndre Ayton.
Okay. So who's guarding Jimmy Butler in that lineup?
They discussed this on Locked On Lakers, and they did not have a great answer.
It's like Rui?
Hope.
So it's like if you go Rui, all right, then who's guarding Draymond? Because
Draymond guards himself nowadays, though.
Yeah, but he's still going to tear you apart with passing. I guess it's Luka.
Yeah, true.
Like, do you put Luka on Draymond? It is a problem here for the Lakers that I am like consistently just like, yeah, I don't know who's going to guard him. Like, I don't know, because you can starting Gabe is fine to be like, hey, chase Steph around screens because he's the only guy that's got the kind of awareness and focus to be able to do that. But like Steph's going to still create separation. The Lakers here, the other thing is, all right, if it's Gabe, you better get some shooting from Gabe. Like you better get some pretty good spot up. Like, you need 3 threes from him tonight in order for that to kind of pay off, because you're going to need to hit threes. This Warriors team is hitting a lot of threes in preseason. I wonder if that's going to be part of their play. I think the Lakers are pretty good. I do. I think that they're probably going to be better by season's end, but this looks like a really tough matchup right out of the gate. If they get this win, though, I think it's going to be pretty impressive if they get the win without LeBron. I think it signals something about the start of the season with Luka.
Hey, is anything on the LeBron thing there from Matt, or do we want to talk DeAndre Ayton?
I have nothing to talk about when it comes to LeBron.
Okay, like Stephen A. Smith, just you don't like that guy. No, you also heard them over on Locked On Lakers talk about how there's no natural matchup for DeAndre Ayton. I think it's a really interesting test for Ayton and the big acquisition that they made this summer. Right out of the gate, Steve Kerr might end up starting Draymond at the 5, although there's some questions there because they have some injuries with Moses Moody and stuff. Maybe they just still end up starting Horford. He's basically leaving that 5th starter job open right now. Maybe that's a little gamesmanship. But whether or not Horford starts or Draymond starting at the 5, like, what do you do with DeAndre Ayton in this matchup, Haize?
I don't know if you have to really worry about DeAndre Ayton too much. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, yeah, DeAndre can score. He can put up points. Make no mistake about it. But I think as long as you have a body that gets physical with him while he's on the offensive side of the ball, and Draymond could do that, Horford can do that. Because there's, I think they'll be okay guarding DeAndre Ayton today. I'm not too worried about DeAndre Ayton.
I don't know. I think it's a little tough. I think it's a little tough because, all right, what's your best option here? Go to Draymond at the 5.
Yeah.
Play small ball, play the near death lineup, and then go that way. If you go that direction, though, now you're playing more wings, and that plays more into what the Lakers want, because the Lakers have some bodies here, right? Like, they've got a little bit of size with various guys that they can play. So even if you're leaning towards small ball and putting more shooters on the floor, like, all right, you take Horford off or Quentin Post off, and you're going to play Buddy Hield. That plays in the Lakers' favor because now you're no longer in this defensive versatile lineup. Now you got somebody that Luka can target, right? So there are kind of costs here. Ayton needs to be able to make them pay. He needs to outrun Al Horford. He needs to be physical. He needs to force them into playing that small ball matchup. And once that happens, okay, now you got some issues because, again, pick and roll defense, that could be an opportunity. If Luka and Ayton are cooking and he's throwing up lobs and they don't have, Horford's not going to sky up to deflect that pass a lot. That's a way for the Lakers to be able to get the advantage here. I actually think Ayton's a big deal tonight, not for his individual performance, but for stressing the Warriors lineups to get them out of their comfort zone.
Don't overlook Trace Jackson-Davis as well, and the part that he can play on his defense on Ayton also. And I think that if you are getting Dre, Quentin Post, Al Horford, Trace, like they have enough bodies to throw at DeAndre Ayton to make it uncomfortable for him. And unless he is truly unlocked a new mentality, all we've seen, like, if you just make it a little bit uncomfortable for DeAndre Ayton on the offensive side of the ball, you can disrupt him.
Last thing here, again, zooming out, Lakers, Warriors, both of these teams similar in the way that they're top heavy with proven veteran star talent. Definitely some depth concerns, as we've talked about, definitely holes on both of these rosters, right? That said, it's still Steph, it's Luka, it's LeBron. There's stars across the board here. Which team do you think has a better chance of making the Western Conference Finals between these two teams? Matt, start with you.
Like, I have the Lakers power rated higher, right? So, like, if I'm going to put any sort of trust in the system that I put together, I need to say the Lakers. It does not feel like that entering the season. Feels like the Warriors are much better positioned. It feels like there's a lot of momentum behind Golden State. I will just say, like, it's a long season, right now, I think it's Warriors, but I think by the end of the year, we could be saying like, oh yeah, no, the Lakers were able to hold it together and the Warriors were too old.
I mean, the age thing is the biggest factor there. That, and then on top of like, are they going to be healthy at the right time? Not to say that the Lakers don't have their own health concerns and things like that, but I think when you look at the Lakers, the ceiling is really high there. As much as I'm not high on them, I understand that the ceiling is high there if they can figure it out. And DeAndre Ayton, if he does have that season where he really locks in, because we know he is talented, then it can change some things for the Lakers. But I also, it's difficult to answer that now because I don't think we've seen the final version of what either one of these teams are going to look like by the time you get to the playoffs. I do see a move happening for each one of those, regardless of the size of that move. But I'd say right now, I trust the Warriors a little bit more.
Maybe like DeMar DeRozan playing for the Warriors. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Tune into Locked On Game Night later tonight for recaps and reactions to tonight's opening night. Thanks to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA.